I've never had bullets fly by my head, but I've experienced freedom because of men who did. Forever thankful to every veteran's sacrifice. This is Vets and Coffee, the podcast. Finally, a podcast 100% about veterans. Looking at veterans making a difference in the veterans community. We'll help veterans. And we'll spotlight veteran-owned businesses, support and hire veterans. Plus, guzzle down some amazing coffee. Welcome to Vets and Coffee, the podcast. Now your host, Tree McLean.
Thank you. I like that.
That is one heaven of all. Whoever did that, kudos to them. And then, of course, the thundering round of applause.
All right. I went to a website called Fiverr.
You got that on Fiverr?
Yes.
So did you stay at the 5 or did you upgrade? Did that cost you 50?
No, it cost me like $45 plus a $20 tip.
Oh, okay. So there we go.
Raul Marino from Charlie Mike Podcast.
Yes.
He's been helping me out, and he hooked me up with them.
Okay.
And the guy did an intro and an outro, and it was amazing.
That is absolutely well done. And from you, not that I'm going to start a podcast, but I love to do voiceover work.
Hey, if you do, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Nah, I'm going to let you do it. So I'll keep promoting yours. How about that?
So real quick, we are here at HTX Fight Camp again.
What's the first rule about Fight Camp?
We don't talk about Fight Camp.
No, that's the first rule. You do talk about Fight Camp.
The first time.
You'd be amazed how many people call this HTX Fight Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I actually had to go in and post about we're not Fight Club, we're HTX Fight Camp. We do something completely different. We're focused on boxing fitness. Because when you talk about when people say Fight Club, immediately they talk about boxing and sparring and doing all this. Well, we introduce people to sparring and then we send them to another gym for sparring because that's a totally different realm of boxing and fitness. So we use boxing as a fitness tool. So we're Fight Camp, not Fight Club, but we'll take either one.
I love it. And for everybody that's watching and not, yes, there's a reason that I'm sitting on the far end because Tree's big enough alone, but holy smokes! I guess if he's tree, that you're a tree trunk.
I'm a tree trunk.
Yeah,
I'm the base.
And I'll sit on this end, and if I ever want to look skinny, I'll sit down here because I look like one of the Three Stooges. If I sit in the middle, I'll be like, look at the little guy.
I wasn't going to mention anything, but I can see it here. You're just a little blip on this.
Man, I'll take it. You know what? You don't want the medic to be the 6'8" guy anyway, right?
But you got to carry us.
That's a 4-man carry right there.
No battle buddy carries there.
Man, what are you weighing in at these days, Tree?
None of your business.
Well, I'm just saying it's like he could.
No, I've actually lost weight. When I went in the hospital a month and a half ago,
right.
I was in a hospital for 7 days. I lost about 20 pounds.
Holy smokes.
And
Did you find it afterwards?
No, I've been.
Okay.
He can do it. I walk every day, every night.
Okay.
Yeah. So it took about weeks before I can start walking again.
Man, I'm glad you're on the road to recovery there. And I could fireman's carry him, but I don't know about you, buddy. You're kind of out of my league. Yeah.
Trailer hit.
No, that's what we call it. I got a 9-line medevac right here. What are you doing? Yeah, it's Tree. Okay, we got it.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
No, we want you to live. Otherwise, we'd be like hunker down right behind him.
Hey, earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're supposed to talk about stuff on the podcast, right?
We're at HTX Fight Camp again.
Yes.
And this time the video and the audio is working.
All right.
Yes.
You
So we'll be able to see Ricky's HTX Fight Camp. And you can see Ricky. Then you hear him talk. But Ricky is now a co-host. So whenever we do,
I'm excited. This is great.
Whenever we do the podcast here locally at the Fight Camp, Ricky's it. And then I've also got another co-host that we're going to do. American Legion Post 654.
Oh, we do it out there?
Yeah, we're going to do it there on Sunday nights. Yeah. So we'll do some up there as well.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that post when we get into Operation Turkey a little bit later.
Yeah. So our guest today is Army Combat Medic Tim Strou, the little bitty guy at the end down there. Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
You
Tell
set
us about
yourself
you.
up for that one.
Tell us all about you.
First of all, I have to correct you. It's Combat Medic. Army Strong.
Army Strong.
There we go. Yeah, we're just talking about the fiefdoms inside the Army. You have enlisted, you've got RLOs, real live officers, and then you've got that so sweet spot in the middle. And what are those?
Chief warrant officer.
That's right, warrant officers. We were talking about Criminal Investigations Division and with CID and all of the different areas. And Ricky, we always talk about it like it's a prison sentence. He did 9 years and 10 months, and I did, and it was just amazing how our paths crisscross. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I just did that. You know why?
You got a rim shot on there?
Oh, wrong one. Oh, here it is. There it is.
Okay, excellent. You'll have these down by the end of the podcast. You'll look and feel like a pro. We were also talking about Tree's board, man. It's quite impressive. Great equipment, and I'm glad to see that the podcast is taking off.
Well, I go with you.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
It works well with small fingers. Mine, it just didn't work. I kept hitting the wrong buttons, you know. So I thought I got to get bigger.
So you're saying I have presidential hands? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You know, it's hilarious because they make, and I just purchased this thing. So, you know, we use gym music all the time. We have to hook up to different, iPods, iPads, whatever. So there's a company that came out with a device you put on your arm, and it's called Chubby buttons. There's no marketing in this Chubby button.
Please send.
And the
your
guy
sponsors in now.
And the guy that created it was a skier. He was a little bit older, and he was tired of trying to press his iPhone with his fingers or with gloves on. He said, "Man, I need a device with a fat button on it, and just so I can change music, take calls, take pictures." So they created this thing called Chubby buttons, and I'm going to tell you right now, absolutely amazing device.
Okay.
Press 2 buttons, takes a picture. You can set your phone wherever you want. And take 2 buttons, take a picture. You can take it down. You can change the volume. You can change tracks. You can different playlists. Pretty amazing piece. It's got 4 buttons on it, so it's old school, like a flip phone.
You're like your daughter sitting over there. Say something.
Yeah, but it's called a Chubby button.
Why do you keep looking at me when you say chubby butt?
Because you're the co-host. Yeah, something else.
We've lost.
We've lost our
20.
co-host.
Yeah. Well, necessity is
Kim,
the
you want a
mother of all
job?
inventions, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So, wow.
So
that's a Chubby board.
Chubby board.
Okay.
Thank you.
well, something that wasn't chubby for me was my military career, because after talking with Mr. Officer over here, and he's making almost 3 times as much as I was making as NCO, it was time for me tap out, cut sling load. And so I transitioned out, and migration to a better Mecca brought me to Houston, because Texas is an oasis for veterans. And I started building a program. Back then, it was Rick Perry was governor, and I cajoled him into giving me $1.6 million through Catherine Cottrell, who was the associate dean at Texas A&M Round Rock, and basically a clearinghouse for all of the VSOs, veteran service organizations that just were popping up all over the land. A colonel wrote a paper called, Sea of Goodwill, Colonel David Sutherland, and it's a great 30,000 veteran service organization that were just lining up, because we grew up with what our parents grew up with up until 2000, and those were the classics. So the American Legion, VFW, Disabled American Veterans, Jewish War Veterans, and the USO, who took care of the active duty components. And we got out, and we didn't want to hang around in smoky bars and play bingo, right? And a lot of the entrenched wouldn't change. Some of them did shift gears, like those who listened to Hector Giron and others as he revamped the VFW and American Legions. But you started seeing some of the Wounded Warrior projects, Grace After Fire, TexVet, and Waves Project, the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, all of these great organizations, but nobody knew anything about them. So what we decided to do was build this clearinghouse, vet these organizations, and then have connections with them. So every leadership, doesn't matter if it's a country, a company, an organization, it rises and falls with their level of leadership, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Sadly, with those organizations, once you move that energetic and charismatic leader, boop, they get picked up by somebody who's going to pay them some real dollars, because let's face it, in a nonprofit world, you're not in it to get wealthy. And so you lose that leader, you lose a lot of the organization. And so we wanted to make sure that we train the trainer, their companies, but also connect those organizations to each other, because a lot of times they look at, this is my veteran, it's mine over here, buddy. I got it over here. You can't have it. They wanted credit for it because either federal or state dollars were tied to it, so they could get funding for it. We taught them to play nice with each other. Governor Perry loved it. It grew, and in fact, it still exists today. But after building it up, I made it over here to Houston, and I just got involved with stations.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
I met Governor Perry.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I went into a buddy of mine's gunsmithing shop over in the Heights.
Okay.
And now the man whose shop it was named Herman Mischke Jr., World War II veteran,
Okay.
U.S. Marshal, armor to the Texas Rangers, HVD, Harris County Sheriff's Office. Man was worked for Colt Firearms. He invented the ambidextrous safety on the 1911s. I walked in, there's a bunch of Rangers in there because there were always over there. Texas Rangers office was Rick Perry. I was like, oh, this is cool, you know?
And you got to appreciate somebody who served our country and then decided to serve again in
Right.
office. And then here's the most important thing, as we were talking when we were off camera, they hold true to their word.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that my mentor, Paul J. Meyer, who used to jump out of a perfectly good airplane like you
Airborne.
did. I know, right? He said the fortune is in the follow-up. Back and you hold people to their word and show them how you've done with yours. And then it's a simple follow. Doesn't matter if it's a letter or phone call. He really didn't like emails. He wanted that personality to shine through. People would connect with you and build their relationships. And that's basically all we are as a community, is just improving our communications and our relationships. If we don't, we're receding. And if you listen to any of the self-help gurus, Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Paul J. Meyer, they're always talking about how we improve our relationships. Because when it comes to divorce, I'm a member of that club. And so if somebody asks you if you've had a fierce conversation with your spouse or ex-spouse, and you ask them, well, how did you get divorced? You try to pinpoint through time, oh, she did this or he did this, and it was come of this. No, your marriage succeeds or fails one conversation at a time.
That's right.
It's the same thing with our communication. It's a great thing about the VFW, the DAVs, the Jewish war veterans. When they're built properly and you build that culture, just like we did in the military, we keep coming back to that fire because we get to warm each other up. It's kind of like church. When you're having a bad week, oh, you need some church. You need some Jesus.
Right.
But when you're having a great week, the church needs you.
Yeah.
And not in a braggartly fashion. In fact, I was talking to my old First Sergeant Herb Silva, and we're talking over the weekend, and we haven't talked to that. May have been 10 that we talked. We just lose touch with some of our Army, our military buddies.
That's an unfortunate part of the process, right?
It is. It is. We build that new culture.
Yep.
We transition out. And I got talking to him, and he was not a big talker in the military, but Top was just a great guy. We would leave the wire every morning at 04 to go buy 6-foot blocks of nitrogen infused ice because we didn't have AC over in Coast. And so we would leave the wire in Bakuba, and we had to take 2 vehicles outside the wire. Nothing was up armored. I mean, it was just, you might as well just have your shirt poke it right through. That was the doors.
That was pre IED days.
Yeah, exactly. It was still small arms fire and all kinds of stuff going on. But anyway, it was great just to talk with him and catch up and show from my foxhole to his, and start talking about things, because he had the weight of the world. He was carrying the sky on his shoulders, and it caused him his divorce. He just had so much stress. And of course, there's so many mitigating factors, but he wanted to come back to the fire, and he wanted to talk to see how he could get plugged in and get back on his road to recovery. And it was such a blessing for me to talk to somebody who had led me down that path when I was a young NCO. NCO.
Tapping on the table.
Say, oh, it's like I'm up to tap. Yeah, I forgot you've got fancy equipment. I've got equipment. It's like you have to yell across the room to get in there. But
you should hear when Bailey hits a leg of the table with her tail. It sounds like a gong show.
Sounds like the 60 coming in. It's like 9-line medevac coming in right now. But to walk her through the process of connecting to some of the VSOs that I know that will absolutely need. And then after that primary zone, I get to talk to the spouses and the family members into the secondary zone and the care providers in that tertiary zone of show them the resources that are currently available in the community. And it doesn't get better than Texas. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and to your point, it's very hard to find resources or just language on veteran service organizations anywhere, right? So for those who, I recently just found a heroes golf tour designed for veterans who suffer from PTSD like I do. We all get together. It's veterans, it's first service, first responders, EMS, firefighters, police officers. And we all get together as a group and we talk about, certain things that happen to us in life. And you talk about communication. Well, communication is the key to making us feel better on a daily basis, right? So having those conversations, communicate with others makes it a wonderful event for us. We go out and play 18 holes golf. We bring back that old Army spirit, each other, and not get our feelings
There's
hurt.
a little bit of that, right?
That
Yeah.
sensitivity goes out the door. But when you do that and you communicate, but it makes you feel better. But I just happened to stumble across something like that playing golf one day and saw this organization out there. And within that organization, there's 10 more, right? So
Right.
excited to hear about some of the VSOs that you have or have seen or put out there. And Texas is a great home for all that stuff. You don't see that in very many places.
You're exactly right. I've got
kudos.
veterans in California is not bad, but in Missouri and had a few in Montana that reached out and said, we would love to do this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we got to build that fire. And it starts. And they were like, well, we want these resources. I said, great, get out your sticks. And they're like, what? I was like, just like when you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, you get 2 sticks.
Yeah.
You start with one person, then you get somebody else, and then they'll blow into the fire and they'll put some embers on there. And so I don't know if you guys went ahead and arranged to fly over for the podcast today. They weren't exactly on time.
Chris, you missed your opportunity. You missed it right there.
Yeah. I'll have to call Ellington Field and tell the colonel that he's off schedule.
That was great. That could have been any better. That was pretty good.
That was perfect. But you're right. And we've got so many veterans service organizations, and when you go to one, you go to the great thing about them today is that they're not protecting the asset to where they're shielding them from all of the other organizations.
Correct.
And they know we have to talk about mental health.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things we worked on at TexVet through the Health Science Center for Texas A&M. We had to make sure that the organizations knew how muy importante that mental health was to our veterans, because when we talk about the 22 veterans that come back, a large portion of them are our Vietnam veterans and older.
Yeah,
because they did not get the care when they came back. They just said, "Suck it up, Buttercup."
Yep.
Right.
My dad is a Vietnam veteran, and he suffered from PTSD for years before getting diagnosed. And luckily for me, being in the military, I can have those conversations with him that are very frank.
Right.
And we get to talk about those feelings. But if it wasn't for that, and then therapy, seeing now they have Zoom therapy and all this other stuff, it makes it very difficult. You mentioned Wounded Warriors. We actually do once a quarter. We bring all the Wounded Warriors in here for boxing.
Okay.
And get to release that stress through the sport of boxing, and it's comical because they punch the bag for about 15 seconds.
Yeah, and
then
they're
already
out.
and then they don't think about anything else after that. But it's a good release. It's a good therapy release. The guys that come here, and we do that once a quarter and do it, and it's an amazing feeling, not only for them but for us as instructors. My other instructor is a Marine veteran, so us being able to give back to the community in some sort of fashion, whether it's mental or physical capacity, it's an amazing feeling to help out anybody. So
yeah, not just a great workout. What a great analogy of gloving up again and protecting yourself, but also hitting that heavy bag of whatever obstacles in your way.
Yeah, that bag of stress.
Oh yeah.
And when you hit it, it relieves it. But it's funny. We're creating a shirt. I own a t-shirt company as well, thanks to Chris.
Okay.
But we the newest shirt we're making it says "Suck it up, glove up."
Okay, I
right?
like
And
that.
it's a great slogan. And you said Round Rock, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're actually creating a gym in Round Rock. It's going to open in about 3 weeks, right outside of I-35, going outside north. And that's where we're going to release all the amount of veterans up there as well that I didn't know existed. So we're going to do that kind of stuff up there.
I
too,
hope you
so.
plug in there, and we'll get some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
In,
Be great.
into stuff.
Yeah, great.
Chris, you had something?
Oh no, I'm just listening right now.
Yeah, sorry to take over here.
No, you're the co-host.
You call me co-host, right?
Yeah,
You're good.
So
You're good.
what other veteran service organizations or other organizations? Because like when Easter Seals of Greater Houston started, nobody knew they were there to help veterans, and I was able to come on board with them when I'm part Italian, so it's like my family's from Italy. It's from the Anzavinos, and we talk with our hands.
Are you germophobic?
No, I like Germans.
We're gonna have to use that dad joke.
Oh
I'm telling
man,
you.
I know we're gonna get some
Yeah.
trouble on this one. And so, for proper saying, women veterans, you don't say female anymore because
No,
we're not
no.
in the military.
Yep.
So for women veterans, there's Key Peterson runs. You've also got Grace After Fire.
I haven't heard of that one.
So we actually were able to incubate that one at TexVet.
Okay.
Their original founder, just absolutely amazing patriot. She did not serve, but she moved from California and she worked with a couple of other organizations. They stood it up, started getting some grant funding, and then it just kind of morphed into something that's amazing because we talked about the 30,000 veteran service organizations out there. Some are just mom and pop operations that are taking care of the veterans and the family members in their area. Meanwhile, you've got some that you may not have heard of, like the Semper Fi Fund when we were in the Army, and that was started in the Marines, but now it serves all of the branches. And you've got the Yellow Ribbon Fund. Those are great programs that sometimes if you don't dig a little, you don't find them. And that's another important thing that my grandfather taught me, who's an Air Force veteran. He's like, dig the well before you're thirsty. What the hell he was talking about when I was 8 years old. I'm like, dig the well before you're thirsty. And what a great analogy.
That is a good analogy.
And I think another thing that we learned in the military is, as a medic, watch one, do one, teach one. That way it really gets ingrained. So even if you don't think you need that resource, go out, start exploring. Go out with the mission continues. Do a service project. Work on something that's outside of you. Find out about service-did therapy or something for kids. I mean,
you never really know what you need until you try it. And then you find out certain things, will relieve your stress or your mental capacity. And when you find those things, you stick to them. It just makes you a better person. And the better we can make everybody, it just behooves the community. Right. So that's a great thing.
All I ever heard in the military was, McLean, you're a soup sandwich.
I bet they didn't say soup all the time. They said something else than this, right? Yeah, that's a big sandwich.
A lot of turkey on that sandwich.
Hey, our next podcast is gonna be with two. Of course, it's the Vets and Coffee, all about vets, but we're gonna have two civilians, at least one, but maybe two women civilians.
Okay.
That help vets.
All right. And can you name the organization now, or?
Well, one of them's just took on a new role at the Post 654.
Oh, you're talking about Lucy Gonzalez.
You got it,
man. I love you. Lucy, she is absolutely wonderful. She's
trying to get Myrna Trevino too.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. She's the previous president for the Greater Houston Rotary Club. In fact, as one of the projects that we sponsor each year is Operation Turkey, and we were chatting about it a little bit before. So if
what a good transition.
I know, right? It's like just hand in glove, just right in there.
Well, she's now with that bunch with the Soldier for Life.
Oh, is that what she's? Oh, yeah.
And she's working in the.
She's a.
Yeah, and then she's doing something else too.
The United States Army.
Right.
Yeah. And she was working with us on the project last year, but we do the major funding and the coordination for Operation Turkey Houston, where we feed over 8,000 people.
That's just amazing.
Yeah, it's a great start, right?
It's amazing. Yes.
And George R. Brown does a good job downtown, but it always reminds me of the lunch lady. You go through and you get a scoop of potatoes, some turkey, and some stuff, and I'm sure it's really good there. I volunteered there before. Thing a little bit different. Give some people the dignity to eat in their own homes. Because some people just, especially during COVID, the last couple of years, did not want to venture out into the world. And this was great for them because they could log online, request the meals, and we don't check a duty 214. We don't give a financial class. If they say, I need 4 meals, we send over 4 meals.
And these are fully cooked meals.
Fully cooked. We smoke the turkey. So it's cut up in 2 parts. Right before Thanksgiving, we do Operation Tailgate. So at 3 different locations, American Legion 654, American Legion in Pasadena, and the Katy Elks Lodge. We roast these birds. I mean, we get up at dark 30, throw them on the spit. Goya, who's one of our sponsors, so great to us. They allow us to store $15,000 worth of turkeys, butterball turkeys, in their facility. Let me just tell you something about Goya. They don't sell butterball. In our dry goods, they're so amazing. And so we go out to
They
Brookshire.
sell butter boya.
Bob and Norway, if you're listening to that, that was not me. That was Tree, but we'll take some Goya dollars and sponsors.
He actually sponsors a golf tournament with the Department of Justice too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Goya Foods is with the FBI. Yeah,
man, I gotta say, I love some
they're
Bob.
good people.
And if people haven't tried their stuff, I've switched from some regular spices. I still love me some HEB and HEB, but I've switched to all Goya spices when I'm cooking and grilling, and I've never gotten more compliments on my food, and that's God's honest truth. And so we take that food, we fully prepare that on Wednesday, and so we're done at the end of the day. And then then we put it back in the fridge. We make sure everything is compliant, and then on Thursday morning we bring in the masses. We have tons and tons of volunteers, over 1,000 volunteers that will come out. We glove up, mask up, and for those that are not follically challenged, put hairnets on. And then we debone those birds, and we get it down. We get every bit, get the white meat, dark meat, get it all in there. And then the pumpkin pie, the rolls, the mashed potatoes. We got another group. It's called Serve. It's a Serve team. It's not Serve run by Jake Hoppeck. It's a different one. But they mash all them taters, and then we bring those in, and then we put them in all little containers and the clamshells, and then we ship them out. We have drivers, all volunteer drivers that come out. Amazing. And we deliver from those areas. Last year we did 8,600 meals. This year we're going to scale it down just a little bit, so 8,250. And if somebody wants to get involved, they can email me at stroudmarketing@gmail.com, or simply go into operationturkey.org and then just choose Houston when they go there. But it's a great organization.
So you mentioned a couple different sites.
Yeah.
These just like host sites where people can just come pick up food.
Yeah, you know what? Also, and thank you so much for that clarity. If somebody wants to request a meal, we will open it up on the 1st of November.
Okay.
And so they can self-identify it, and they can choose up to, I think, 10 meals. And then after that, so if it's a church, a synagogue, a mosque, a gathering center, halfway home that says, hey, Tim, like US Vets downtown, we drop off 200 meals down there. And then we'll also drop 200 meals to VA. Okay. Those need to come specifically to me via the email, because the system will not allow you to request that many. And at first with the VA, they were like, I don't know about this bald guy dropping off food. They say, we can't have you drop off anything to our veterans. And I said, well, what about the police officers and the workers? And they said, well, if they'll take it. Well, I went in there that first time, man, you think I was just passing out gold bars. And because once the first person took a bite of that food, it's the only thing your mom, because it slapped your mama good. But after the first person eats it, and then word just spread. And that now they allow us. I've made some really good friends with Frank, who's the executive director, and Maureen Diamond, who's the marketing director. Great people. And that's a frustration for a lot of people, the VA, because you're talking about 6,000 employees, and so they're in all the C box that they have.
Yeah.
Imagine if just 10% of them in a, but 10% of the people, when you have 6,000, you need 600 people. They're going, somebody peed in their Cheerios, right?
Yeah.
And they have to be reminded day in, day out that, you're there to serve someone. And some of them are paid quite well. Some of them, not so much. But talk about a job to where you get some of the best people in the world and the worst people sometimes at their worst. I know, right?
I have a love-hate relationship recently. Well, I say recently, over the past 6 years, I've been going to the VA probably once a week.
Okay,
I've got some medical issues that I'm trying to get under control as well.
good for you.
So when I go in, when you say love-hate, I go in, sometimes they're really, really nice. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it flares that PTSD a little bit. But, I can understand what you're saying. If just 10% of those people have a bad day, whew, you got a ride on your hands, right? So,
Absolutely.
we try to have the best attitude we can. Kudos to those guys, because I see a lot of the stress that other people have on them, and they have to take on that role of veterans coming in with already having an attitude.
Right.
So if we can work together in some kind of conjunction, and I just think that's an awesome way to, when you break bread together. I always say, if families are built on the dinner table, you break bread together, you become a family.
Amen.
Even if you're not family, you're friends. When you break bread together, you're family. So
You're exactly right.
That's an amazing thing you're doing.
And there's some people listening. I don't know what happens at the VA. Well, guess what?
Mhm.
You can volunteer at the VA. Just go up to the second floor, go to Barbara Bell, and she will put you to work. You can go downstairs and work in the information booth. You can help take veterans around. You can work on one of the beautification projects that Maggie Peters from Camp Shield coordinated for Rotary, who was co-founded by a Vietnam veteran, Bob Gephardt. What a great guy.
Yeah.
And just making sure that he's teaching the next generation, giving them his knowledge and energy. And I love that. And I think it's one of the things that's missing in our culture that we found is that we're starting to build them back up, whether it's politically, it's through for-profits or nonprofits, of just getting back to that culture to where we're lifting things and not paying attention to, hey, how did you vote before I help you out? I mean, as a medic on the battlefield, I never once stopped to patch. Well, hold on. Did you vote for Obama?
And it's sad that our world has come to that. And I 100% agree with you. But I don't ask anybody if they're Republican or Democrat or anything when they walk in here. I'm providing a service for everybody. So that's a great point. It's funny you say that. But full circle here. I was only asking because I would love to offer our facility as a host site for meals if they want to pick up. We're in a centrally located in the Heights. If there's a spot that you need and you want to use the space, we're open. So
absolutely.
We have 10,000 square feet and we have a parking lot. So if you guys want to use the space, I'm 100% volunteering for anything you guys want to do. So.
I appreciate that. We will put that on the list and see if we can use this as an overflow.
Yep.
Because he's probably going to put in for 10 meals, super family.
I am.
Hey man,
I have a macro count I got to keep up with.
I buy an extra bird each year to make sure that we do that from 04 to 1800 or past that for 2 days in a row. You're done. You just don't want to cook anything. You just want to relax. And so I take another bird in to do for my family.
Yep.
And man, I got to tell you what, they love it. And they were like, "Is that dry?" It's like, no, you just take it home, debone it, and then you throw it in a chicken or a turkey broth.
Yep.
Just pep it back up to life, and then you got sandwiches for the rest of the week.
That's it.
And you can make some great stuff. Yep. I want to make sure that we, number one, let veterans and their families know that this is a place that they need to support, because as a veteran owner, this is not a charity. You got to put you've got a young a gymnast over here.
Yeah.
That's 7 going on 17.
I got one in college. I got this one, and then I have a newborn as well.
Congratulations, man!
So I've got them all.
Awesome.
I got all their ages. Ages covered.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's about time for those.
Done already. Done.
There we go. We need to get people in the door to buy memberships. That's where your bread and butter is going to come from.
They offer discounts.
And any veteran or federal employee or first responder, police officer, firefighter, whatever, we offer 20% off any package in here. So that pretty much covers just the cost of the instructor. We make zero money off that. And but I want to see this place packed with veterans. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be amazing.
I will make sure that we put this out to our field. One of the other organizations is through Serve. 567 different veteran service organizations.
Awesome.
Come together once a month, specifically online. It's an hour and a half, but we're in constant communication via text and email. And all we're doing is being professional problem solvers. And we're making sure if somebody comes in, because you know as well as I do, veterans don't call you 2 months out and be like, "Hey Tim, I'm going to be a little bit behind my rent." Now they call you on Friday and it's like, "Hey, I need a place to stay."
Yeah.
It's like they're kicking me out at 5. It's 4:35 at this point, right?
That is so
And
true.
and we've got to go. First of all, let's get that pride out of the way. That is a beast. And there's no room for that in our culture, in our community. So get it out of the way. If there's help that's available, let's make sure that others know about it. Again, watch one, do one, teach one.
Yep.
And making sure that we're plugging in there. And I'll invite you out to our Rotary Club, which is meeting tomorrow, and we're doing that. Some people are listening to this, probably be too late to buy a ticket. But we've got a huge giveaway, $2,500 in gold, a lottery tree, some hand painted and designs. We do have 2 of those that are powder coated from our famous guys and gals down in Sugar Land. They make all the weapons down there, and just beautifully well done. If you've never toured the tactical platforms, and they are absolutely wonderful. In fact, we should get them on the show.
Yeah, I know. I've been there for the shop a few times. I own some of their lowers.
Okay.
Yeah. If you notice on my logo, there's a coffee cup full of bullets right there.
Okay.
I love guns too.
Well, I love your coffee. That's a great segue.
Well, hey, you know, speaking of coffee, last year I made you some coffee.
You did, and we sold out, which is great.
You do? You have any left?
Well, no, I ended my campaign and ended my coffee.
The thing for you, you're here today because I created you a new blend of coffee.
New bag. Hold on.
A new blend of Congress coffee.
Okay. Tell them about the old blend first, because it was delicious.
It was the pecan caramel vanilla.
Texas pecan caramel vanilla.
Right. And it was the Congress coffee, strong but a little nutty.
That's right.
So I used the same label, and I just added a new name to it because it's over after math. Shot of whiskey.
That is pretty slick.
I love it. You know what? And I'm actually going to share this with a buddy of mine. He does not drink coffee, but I'll put a shot of whiskey in there for him because he drinks decaf. Oh, look at that. 2 bags.
Oh, man.
And if you're a coffee drinker, you have to go whole bean and grind it there and then use a French press. Would you agree, Tree? That's the best way to go?
It is. Yeah. I do a pour over method myself.
Me out here because pour over method. You're probably going to go fancy schmancy on me.
No, actually, during COVID, during the freeze, people were contacting me going, "Hey, I have no electricity. I got a propane burner.
Okay.
I got water. How can I, make some coffee?" I said, pour over method. Get yourself a stainless steel strainer that you use for like sifting flour or whatever.
Okay.
Put a piece of paper towel in it. Pour your coffee in there and pour your hot water over it.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's
We
it.
did that in Iraq.
That's how I make my coffee every morning.
At what branch of the military you're in?
Army.
Okay.
So we used to get the defact filters.
Yeah.
the huge
Yes.
coffee filters.
Yes.
And then we would put it in a old coffee can.
Yeah.
We'd
Rubber band that sucker.
pour it over, put some hot water on it. That's how we make coffee.
Pour
in the
over
field.
method.
Man, we drank it until it was mud.
It was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I promised myself when I was out there sucking up all that sand, dadgummit, when I was sucking up all the sand, that I would can coffee the way that I like it. So on the weekends, I put a shot of Bailey's and shot of Kahlua in there. But when I'm doing the fat, this for Mr. Fitness here, the fat-free, sugar-free vanilla creamer, I froth it, but I put in 2 dashes of cinnamon and 1 dash of cayenne pepper. Then I froth it.
Yeah, cayenne.
That's
That's
like
good.
a Mexican mocha coffee.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they put cayenne pepper in it. Yeah. Like my Mexican mocha, it's chocolate cinnamon, but
Chocolate cinnamon. Okay.
yeah.
I should throw a little chocolate powder in there too.
That sounds good. I want a cup of coffee now.
I know. You could go decaf. Do you drink regular coffee?
I do drink regular coffee. Actually, Chris makes coffee
Yeah,
for me.
they have their own coffee here.
So we do a fitness blend of coffee. What I asked Chris to do was create 2 light blend coffees, higher the caffeine. So it gives you a little bit extra pep in the morning when you work out. So we have 2 different things that we use when we work out. Everybody likes a pre-workout supplement or caffeinated supplement.
Okay.
But coffee is just one of those things. You take a workout supplement, it's got this stuff in it called beta alanine, and it gives you like tingles, like your arms are asleep. If they don't like that feeling, they can drink a cup of coffee, and it's about the same effect. 2 basically 2 cups worth of caffeine in one coffee cup, 1 8-ounce coffee cup. And Chris made that for us. And I sell out every month. I just recently got 12 more bags, and it'll probably be gone tomorrow. People
Okay.
have been asking me
Now,
about it, but it's
you
a
haven't
wonderful
had this
blend.
coffee yet. This is a new bean I'm doing. This bean's from Honduras.
Okay. Where were you getting your?
The other beans that you had were Guatemalan.
Okay.
Yeah, which were good. I have Colombia and El Salvador, but this is a family from Honduras. The father runs a farm, and the mother and 3 grown children run the importing business into Texas.
And how did you get connected with them?
I just found them
Okay.
and tried their coffee out, and I fell in love with it. Yeah.
All right. There was a, I'm trying to think of the name of the store now, and because I need to go back there and connect you with them to sell your coffee there. But that's how I learned the special tweaking of the creamer, of how they built their coffee, because I had it and it was a spicy coffee. It was so good. I would actually buy a couple extra cups when I went there. Notice I did not tap the table, and I get them in. I would get them in to-go cups, and when people would go to the stoplight, I would give away the coffee. I just love of giving and helping out, and goes back being a medic, doing the most good for the most people. When somebody has going to give it away and promote it, so I'll have a sip or 2 of this, and I'll be promoting that one. And so, with your gym, where are you guys at with capacity? And
So we have 2 different sides,
Okay.
actually. So this side over here is all classes.
Okay.
So this is boxing fitness classes, 45-minute classes. Capacity over here is about 60%. So we
all
have
heavy
plenty of-
bags or any speed bags?
It's heavy, no speed bags, all
Okay.
heavy bags and one-on-one mitt work. So the coaches in here actually hold pads, which
Okay.
is significantly different than any other boxing gym you go to. Normally, for a coach to work some mitts with you, you get that free in this class. So about 60% capacity over here. We're building back up. We're actually gaining about 3 or 4 members a week on this side. Post-COVID hit us pretty hard. We actually had to go Zoom for a while, but now everybody's starting to come back. And then with vacations ending for the summer, all the parents are starting to come back as well. This side over here is all personal training. This is something we created between my wife and I, and we're like 90% capacity over here. We do very well on this side. It's built for more the person that wants to lose weight, gain strength, overall fitness, but a very regimented program. And on this side, we do a little bit of everything. We build your program. Everybody's program is different. We build your nutrition program. You get that free of charge.
Wow.
And then we monitor that through what we call our in-body device. We use science to build your macro program. So we can track that every 2 weeks on a scientific basis. I love data.
Blinding me with science.
And I love that. I can see numbers move. It makes the process a little bit easier, right? It's a very easy metric for people to see. You're either going up or you're going down.
If you can track it, you can trace it.
That's right. And so this side is very, very full. We actually hired another trainer, a young girl from U of H. Her name's Denise. She's featured on our Instagram right now, so you can read her profile. But she's
That'll get me in trouble with my girlfriend, so no, I won't be reading her profile.
But
So.
she's a young student at U of H getting ready to graduate as a
Girlfriend?
I know, right? And she has full sight and all of her. Yeah, I know, right? It's like my buddy's like, "Is she blind?" I was like, "No, it's visually impaired." And no, I don't think she is. So she,
Coast Guard?
Space Force, Space Force.
SpaceX. My son works for NASA, but no, everything on this side is almost full. We've hired more trainers. We're probably going to hire a few more trainers to bring in, especially as I transition to Austin, trying to get that gym going as well. Pier is going very well. It's a very family oriented gym. I hate to say no judgment in here, but when you come in here, everybody pushes you, and that's what I love about this community. In here, there's no matter what you are, when you walk in through this door, you're part of the Fight Camp family. And when you're here, we treat you as that, and that makes fitness and the journey of fitness a little bit easier. So
I love that. So my girlfriend Dina and I, we both live in the Cypress area, and unbeknownst to triathlon in her area in Bridgeland, and we supported it yesterday. And she had cancer when she was 11 years old, told that she was not going to make it to 12. She beat everything. She worked her ass off to get where she's at today. She got COVID a year and a half ago, and that caused some problems with her heart.
Absolutely.
So she can't run as she used to, but she's getting back in that. They've altered her meds, and she's getting to a good spot. Not crossing any HIPAA lines. So she's like, we went out and we weren't participating in the triathlon, but we supported it.
Yeah.
And that meant on the last leg of it, just cheering people on.
Yeah.
And I think that I love what you do. You said no judgment zone, because there were
We're
people
not Planet
yesterday.
Fitness, by the way.
Fair enough. I don't know what their tagline is, but when we watched the people that were coming through, yeah, you saw the ultra runners coming through first, sprinting through, and you saw their stride, their gait, their fitness level, and their way they rippled when they ran. You could tell that they had honed themselves. They were David Goggins, right?
Yeah.
They were not going to quit. Then you started seeing some others that were behind, and I know they released them at different times, and they had their little ankle monitors on so they could track their times. We saw amputees. We saw members of Team Hoyt. We saw men and women that were plus sized.
Yeah.
That you would not fathom them in a triathlon, and here they were, everybody that was sitting on the sidelines. We were just ecstatic cheering them on, because this was literally the final leg. They made a left turn after hitting the drink station, go over the bridge, and then they go back to the finish line and celebrate. It felt so great just to cheer them on.
Yeah.
I know there are people out there right now that want to cheer on the veterans and the family members, because it's not just for veterans, but it's veteran owned.
Right.
Have you guys ever thought about doing
Sorry.
That's a TENS unit.
Sorry about that.
That's the people just
It's
running
all right.
in here to sign up. Have you guys ever thought about having somebody who's listening right now? I bet there's somebody that says, hey, I want to donate and help out a veteran, and I can connect you to
No, I
any
haven't.
of the
That's
veteran
that's
service
an
organizations.
Amazing offer. I never even thought about that.
So why don't we set up something between one of the VSOs,
Yeah.
could be Camp Shield, Camp Hope, whatever, but they can donate to that charity so they get their write-off.
Yep.
And that money's earmarked for a membership.
Amazing. I
Let's
think that
do
would
it.
be-
Yeah, absolutely. I'll help you set that
Okay.
that up.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Ricky's daughter is a gymnast.
She is.
And she's amazing. She is. I
I'll
mean,
brag a little bit.
I
She
saw
is,
her years ago when she was a little kid, and she was just bouncing all over the house. It was just like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, so she is. She started gymnastics when she was 2 at the little gym, which they just kind of roll around a little bit, right? And quickly realized little girl could do a pull up.
Okay. Whoa.
And so we took her over to Elite, and she started going with the other kids. And
Come on around, sweetie.
you know when you
Did she come around?
yeah. So when
Come on.
you know when you would look
Oh,
at
I
kids,
apologize. Dad. I even have. I told her to come around. I was like, I wanted everybody to see her, and I didn't
Yeah.
even think
You
about
know,
it.
but
It's like,
when you look at other kids and they doing little cartwheels or rolling around, and then you see this one doing something a little bit extra. As parents, you always want to say, "Oh, my kid's really good at this," right?
right.
So I asked the coach, "Do me a favor, evaluate her. She's good. Let's take her to the next level. Let's get her some lessons. Let's get her going." And the coach said the same thing. Everybody thinks their kid is good, and he came back and he said, "Look, Ricky, she's really good. So we want to put her in this category, but we want to get coach, the owner, to look at her as well." And I love it because the coaches are both from China. And as she's doing her tryouts, the coaches both look at me and they go, and I was like, "Oh, she's in. She's in," right? Well, when she was 4, she started doing, and before you knew it, she was catching up to everybody. And recently we went to Orlando, and it was an international competition. And I didn't think anything about it. I love watching my daughter do stuff, but I never think of her in a category as like, oh, she's the best out there. I just like that she's having fun. And when we got done with the competition, I in my head, I went, man, she did amazing. Like, I think she's going to place. So we go over to the next arena where they're getting ready to give out awards, and in my pocket, I'm just waiting, and they go, "Well, first place from Houston, Texas." And I'm fumbling around like, "Oh my God, it's her, it's her." And she gets up there and she finishes first in the entire competition out of the age group of 6 to 12.
Oh, bring it up. The
The
highest of 5. Nicely done.
And right now she's actually ranked in the country, which is really awesome. But gymnastics takes a big part of our lives. It's very hard for both my wife and I run this facility to practice, and having a newborn, and she goes to gymnastics 4 days a week. But as long as she loves it, Daddy's gonna do whatever it takes to
Good
get
for
her
you.
there.
And good for you.
And she's amazing, and proud dad. I'm the guy that's in the gym when she does it. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go," and everybody else is real quiet. I'm cheering her on like a football team, but it's amazing. It really is amazing what kids can do. But she's been around this atmosphere since she was 2 years old. We used to put her to sleep in that tent back there, and she would wake up and all this stuff. And she's just amazing at what she does. And I couldn't be a more proud dad. So she's really good.
Proud of you.
Now you gotta
Good
go
job.
away.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, great job.
Leave now.
So anybody who's listening is inspired by that story. I want you to think just for a second. If you have kids around that age, it's never too young for them to start.
Mhm.
But it's a big but. Please be vigilant. If your kid in swimming, gymnastics, sports, please do not treat them or train them to be bullies.
Yeah.
I was talking to my neighbor this morning, and I had to hit the pause button because I have a regimented day, even though I'm technically unemployed at this point because I'm not running for Congress anymore, and I'm working on doing some projects with some different veteran service organizations. I have the time freedom to get some things done.
Mhm.
Well, it's a great friend of mine, Vincent, my neighbor, months ago. He was working in his backyard, 51, almost turned 52, heart attack, died. His 16-year-old daughter found him. She knew CPR because she was an avid swimmer, but she stopped swimming, not because of her dad. She stopped swimming, and she was like your daughter, competitive all the way through. And she's Asian, so her mom's Chinese and Taiwanese, and dad was Japanese. So all the little ethnicities you could think of, all one little body, super smart, swimming. And it's hard for a 4'8" young lady to swim against somebody who's 6'1". They just have a better reach.
Yeah.
But still, she was second, third, first place every now and then of not just her age bracket, but she was 12 swimming against 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just blown away like your daughter was. She quit swimming because of bullying her.
That's sad. It's so sad.
It is so sad. And so I don't like bullies. I don't care if it's little girls or 80-year-old men. So that we've got no place. So if you're listening, make sure that you're cheering on those who are actually in the race.
Yep. And, and another point, the kids, if you look at kids now, kids back when we grew up, we're outside, we're playing, we're moving, we're out in the heat, we're drinking water out of water hoses.
Right. Let it go for a little bit. Let it go.
It's the difference of when we grew up to the fitness level, being outside or being energized, or even in schools. Like most schools don't even have PE anymore.
That's crazy.
To what it is now, where kids are on their phones or on their iPads or on their computers. If you look at the health and the generation of kids now, it's declined drastically. And we love when kids come in here. Love it when kids come in here. We have a lot of kids in here. And when they get on that bag and they move and sweat and they're jumping up and down and moving around, not used to, because they're not getting into school, they're not getting it home.
Right.
But when the kid comes in here and the kid's showing some kind of effort, then it puts the pressure on the parents.
I love that.
And then the parents come in here and do the same thing. Then you have whole families working out. And you want to talk about heart pumping, man. That's amazing to watch when your mom and dad have to push even harder because son and daughter are starting to blow past them. And it's pretty amazing to see the whole transformation of that.
It's like
family.
karate. The kids a purple belt and the dad's a yellow.
But the generation of kids now are just not healthy. They're not being taught in schools the importance of nutrition, the importance of exercise, and when they come in here, they get all that.
I love it.
Not just from us, from everybody else.
So what's the threshold?
6 years old.
Okay.
You bring your kid in here at 6 years old, and we'll take them all the way through high school and college.
What a great program!
And even with the kids that are that young, we do one-on-one specialty work with those guys, so they don't get hurt, but they're understanding the concept of exercise, nutrition, and just preaching that on a daily basis. These kids is huge.
What a confidence booster, because I can tell you right now, the only boxing I had was when my stepfather decided to use me as a punching bag. And I laugh about it because that's my defense mechanism. But I learned at age 10, if I let my dad use me as a speed bag, he wouldn't put my mom back in the hospital.
Yeah. And
I never got to where I was on the other side. I was always arms had to defend myself. Wasn't until I got into the military to where I learned that there's such thing as a defensive punch.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. And then the confidence I got, I mean, I was a medic. Come on. I wasn't kicking indoors. Let's be real here. It's like you guys kicking those things in. But I was there to patch and plug up, and I had enough confidence because I had, you went through the training program. had so many others that I cheered on them go through their expert infantry badge and get it, even though I was going through my combat medical badge. But just watching these guys just go through this grueling feats of strength and endurance, because you know better than I do, there's a point in time where your body's just going to give up.
Absolutely.
But if you got it here and you got it here, you're going to push through.
Yep. You can push your mind. You can push your body through anything if you get your mind put to it. Man.
That's got to help out a lot of veterans and first responders and law enforcement to come in training, or even just a train up.
Yeah, it's a refresher, and we have a lot of police officers that come in here, and they do the one-on-one stuff, and they get a lot of refreshers, right? So even if I hate to say this story out loud, but even your bar fights that happen, if somebody picks on your wife or your girlfriend, we just recently had that where the guy came in here super excited. His hand was a little bruised up, but he's like, "Look, whatever you taught me over the past 3 months helped me fight 4 guys."
What?
And kind of saved my fiance from getting hurt. And
he went Jack Reacher on him.
I'm telling you, right? And, I didn't believe it. He showed me the video, and I was like, "Whoa!" He did a little roll slip there.
What? Somebody filmed him?
Yeah. His wife got the camera, the security footage,
the closed caption
or his
footage.
fiance. Sorry, he's got the footage from the. And I mean, he was in there like a boxer.
Man.
But he said, "Look, I would never use it just for fun. I use it as defense because this is what you guys teach in here. It's a we do a lot of women's self-defense courses in here too. But having the knowledge, somebody who knows how to throw a punch, when you get in a fight and they get in that stance, you take a second to think about what the heck am I going
Absolutely.
into, right? It's like fighting a guy that's got cauliflower here. If he's got cauliflower, he's a wrestler. Don't mess with him.
I have a black belt in Ching Ching.
What's that?
Ching Ching.
I thought that's where you were going with it. And I was like, how far is he going to go to the edge?
Chris is my neighbor.
Hey, all right, fair enough. But you know what? And I always like looking at the other side of that story as well. You talk about throwing a punch. When you go through this class, you know how to take a punch too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we offensive and defensive techniques are taught in here all the time. So being prepared is the biggest part of just defense in general, right? Being prepared. If you're prepared to take a punch, you're prepared to throw a punch, you're going to be 100% better than the guy that's standing in front of you.
Amen. I mean, one's too many, four's not enough, depending on your training. But if you got 4 assailants that are coming at you, somebody's going to get a punch in there. You better know how to take it and roll with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Man, I learned so much on this. And I was like, hey, Tim, you're going to talk today. I was like, no, I'm going to shut up. I won't listen, because I love learning about new things. And
Same here.
And I'll cross-pollinate with the other organizations like the Waves Project. They teach veterans in a dive buddy. As long as they're 6 through program, they go SSI and they become open water scuba certified.
That's pretty awesome.
No charge to the veteran and dive buddy. What a great program!
Yeah,
Right?
they were on Charlie Mike podcast recently.
Okay,
Wow.
was it Jeff Picard?
The guy from down here.
Yeah, that's him.
I met him at another event. I met him at too.
Veterans Function.
Yeah, Veterans Function. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Marines and the Army, so he did it backwards, and I never got that. You can be a badass Marine and go into the but that's the way it normally happens, right?
It does.
And he was over in Afghanistan on a mission, and he got shot. And he's a Purple Heart recipient, awesome guy. And his wife found the program when they were living over in California, and she's like, "You need this. You're signing up now." Severe PTSD, anxiety, and boom, this is his path.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hey, where'd you go to school at for your dog?
Oh, Easter Seals, a Greater Houston program. They had trained up a few dogs during the process, and they used several different trainers throughout the process. And we worked with the state, federal, and a lot of local organizations to where, I won't say the dollar amount, but millions of dollars that I was blessed to be in a position to help facilitate towards that organization. And when I transitioned out, I made sure that we trained up some others. But I think they're around 13 or 15 members strong now, continuing on the mission. So number one is mental health, and then they do casework and making sure that you're plugged in and everything. And that includes your VA benefits. A lot of people groans like, "Rrr." The VA's got some great programs, some great doctors, physicians, LCSWs, and some providers. Every now and then you get that bad apple in there.
Yeah.
But you can go on the economy if you want. You just have to go through their program. A buddy of mine, Darren Selnick, when he was special advisor to the Secretary of the VA. He helped write that. And he was actually in the VA, but Trump didn't win. Those positions are political. And this is all I'm saying about this on the political for with the VA is that he's a political appointee. He's not a veteran. I just have a little bit of a spur underneath my saddle of it. This is the second time in our history that we have a non-veteran running the VA.
Yeah.
And we got a great guy who's local, John Birchler. He's awesome. He's doing great stuff up in DC. It's just like, for me, I'd personally like to see somebody in the POTUS or VP slot, somebody had served.
Yeah. And you know, I have very strong views, and I'll hold some of those back, but I agree with you on that. Nobody knows what it's like to serve your country and do the things we have to do until you're in the midst of the fire. And for those who you can talk about it all day, you can read about it all day, but until you've sweat and shed blood and tears with arms, you don't understand the process.
Oh, you're exactly right.
You can have PTSD from many things, but PTSD from the Army or the military in general is a little bit different. And that's why we need all the help we can get. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's vital to the country for somebody to have that experience and have that knowledge and that base of being a soldier.
Yeah, you're going to be more cognizant of your decisions,
Absolutely.
and you're going to be less like pieces on a chessboard.
You know, I got mom VA benefits this morning.
What?
Yes, I just found out about it because Dad served in Korea
Okay,
in the Navy. She's entitled to them.
Absolutely.
man, I love stories like that.
because she gets a bunch of home health care as it is, but I got her a little bit more.
Who did you go through for those benefits?
Vet serve.
Okay,
Yeah.
another good organization. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many of them, and there's a local one as well. And I like their stuff. I'm just a little partial to TextVet because you sign in for anything. You can just click on one of the 254 counties in Texas and find the resources. But another good local one is Combined Arms.
I use Texas Veterans Association.
Okay, TVA,
Yep.
another good one.
They're a
Yeah,
great organization. So
excellent. Chris, is there anything else we need to
No,
wrap
we're
up with
good.
today?
We're good. We've had a great long show today, the whole hour long.
Holy
Oh,
Longest
smokes.
one
smokes.
yet.
That's right.
I know.
And price of admission, 2
coffee.
bags of coffee.
Someone's happy about their coffee.
Man, I tell you what, I'm going to be rolling into my own life, not just because of coffee, but because of this conversation.
Well, you know, this blend came up upon real quick. Blend came up upon, from a veteran that lost his life due to too much drinking.
Okay.
And he was a good friend of mine. And he gave me a bottle of bourbon before he went in and said, when I get out, we'll get together and we'll drink this. And when he got out, I've already quit drinking. And he was a heavy drinker. He drank himself to death.
Man, I'm sorry to
But
hear that, brother.
I have to blame it on his. He lived in a lot of pain. Yeah, he was 1st Infantry Division. Yeah, but he came out and would not slow down the drinking and everything. So Bailey found the bottle of bourbon that he gave me. She was in a closet in my room that has my old uniforms in and an old pair of Cochrane boots, and I heard her collar.
And they're got
Hit.
in a minute.
Her collar hit a bottle or glass, and I opened it up, and there's that bottle of wine. So I thought about just throwing it away, giving it to his mom. So instead, I worked on a blend of coffee for him. So after I get done making it, I got like a shot left in the bottle, and I've been drinking 17 years. I'm like, I'm gonna drink a shot to Marty.
Good for you.
So I opened it up and I took a shot of it and I shut it, and it burned going down, and it tasted good. But when it hit my stomach, oh my God. I got up. I'm clenching my butt cheeks. Oh Lord,
That's not the visual I want to leave with.
I had the worst hangover. I could have had a colonoscopy after that. I was so cleaned out.
One shot.
So
Yeah, it just ruined it.
allow me to dovetail on that one and leave us at a little bit more of an inspirational ending. Is that anybody listening right now, whether you're a veteran or a non-veteran, is that find a resource in your area and don't be stingy about it. Share it with others. And if you're a veteran, absolutely do this for 30 days. That way you can make it a habit into your life. Every day, reach out at least to 3 veterans. Everybody can do 3. Reach out to 3 veterans. They could just be on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or somebody you've got a phone number you can text. Do a buddy check. Just reach out to 3 each day. You don't have to go into politics or sell them anything. just tell them, say, hey man, I was reaching out to veterans today. I thought about you. It will mean the world to you and to them.
Have you been to camp?
Have.
Yeah. So Marty's Mountain.
Marty, I love, man. What a great guy.
No, Marty's Mountain, the blend of coffee that is.
Oh.
Benefits Camp Valor.
No, David is I'm trying to think the creator of that one, and he was a Vietnam veteran, right?
You're talking about
maybe we're talking about two
No,
different places, because some of they're just so close together in names.
Well, there's John. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's running it now.
Okay.
And
I'll get the link
John
from you.
Bailey. John Bailey's his name. No.
Yeah.
No,
Ah,
that would have been a
come
great.
on. You're
That would
never
have been a
gonna
great
get-
end to this podcast.
You're never gonna get into public
So,
office. You can't bend the truth. Just
I
a little
gave
bit.
the money made from the coffee. I make their own coffee. They have their own Freedium roast coffee.
The what?
I make Freedium, not medium roast, but
Freudian. So
Freedium roast
you
coffee.
slip when you drink it. What?
Yeah,
What?
Freedium roast coffee. Instead of medium, it's Freedom roast coffee. Freedom.
Ah,
Right.
I get you now.
So they have their own blend.
I was like, that's like,
Yeah, but that's Camp Valor. It's a Birdwell Foundation.
yeah, actually another good veteran and a
Right.
Pentagon survivor.
Yeah. So that's who that helps out.
Good stuff. All right, well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get my Jeep and zoom along. I appreciate
Yeah,
you
I
guys
appreciate
today.
you coming out, and always remember, never let them be forgotten.
Gotcha.
You've been listening to Vets and Coffee, the podcast. As you can see, and coffee are Tree's passions, and we want to make a difference in the veterans community. And with your help and continued listenership, we'll do exactly that. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. See you next time on Vets and Coffee, the podcast.